Hello and welcome to another Tri-tutors video. In today's video we're going to be looking at some exam style questions for the poem At a Funeral. Let's get into it. So firstly, I would advise that you watch 3 videos before you actually watch this one and answer these questions. So to prepare, please watch the scene poetry video that I made a few years ago that explains how to study for scene poetry and also how to answer the questions. Then I would advise that you watch the poem At a Funeral, the video that I made with a line-by-line analysis, so that you're prepared to answer these questions. And lastly, if you could watch the video that I made on questions on the poem of Solitude. In the introduction to that video, I've explained in a bit more detail how to answer poetry questions, so I definitely would advise that you watch that first before diving into these questions. So I'm not even going to read the poem. I'm assuming that you've read it, that you know it, that you've studied it, and you're ready to answer the questions now. Question 1. Refer to the title. Evaluate the effectiveness of the title for 2 marks. Question 2. Refer to lines 5 and 9. Account for the exclamation marks. 2 marks. Question 3. Refer to line 9. How does the figure of speech enhance the message of the poem? This is a 3-mark question, so you need to explain what the figure of speech is, explain the message of the poem, and then show how they work together. Question 4. Refer to the last line. Account for the speaker's shift in tone. So here the hint is whenever they ask you about shift or change, you must always refer to what it was before and what it is afterwards and explain this shift. So I would encourage you to pause the video now to attempt to answer these questions yourself, and then resume the video when you're ready to mark. So let's get into the marking. As always, no one's ever going to get the same identical answer in English. That is the greatness of English. So when we are marking this, just have a look at my model answers and just see firstly how much I'm writing for each point. That's really important, and a lot of students either under-explain or over-explain. So have a look at how the sentences, the number of sentences or number of points match the mark allocations. And then also just make sure that you understand the details and look how I've explained what I'm thinking, because we can have different interpretations of a poem. It doesn't mean that one of us is right or one of us is wrong, but you just need to make sure that you explain your opinion with evidence, and then you can get the marks you deserve. Question 1. Refer to the title. Evaluate the effectiveness of the title. The title, At a Funeral, indicates the setting of the speaker's reflection. It notifies the reader of the somber message of the poem through the negative connotations of funeral. 2 marks, 2 points, 2 sentences. Question 2. Refer to lines 5 and 9. Account for the exclamation marks. The exclamation marks used by the words salute and arise indicate a call to action as well as a sign of respect. Question 3. Refer to line 9. How does the figure of speech enhance the message of the poem? The personification of freedom, which stirs our earth, is significant as it bestows power on the concept of freedom. The message of the poem is apparent in the second stanza of the poem as the speaker comments on the bravery of resisting apartheid and the importance of resisting in order to attain freedom. The personification of freedom therefore emphasizes the message of the poem, as freedom is the primary aim of the resistance movement, and the power of this concept cannot be matched. Question 4. Refer to the last line. Account for the speaker's shift in tone. The speaker's tone has been reflective and contemplative throughout the poem. In the second stanza, he adopts an impassioned tone when describing his frustration with apartheid. However, in the last line, the speaker's tone becomes even more ardent and somewhat optimistic, as he proclaims that it is better that we should die than give up the fight for justice. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found that video helpful. I'll see you in the next one.